Welcome back to Caffeinated Astrology. This is my astrology blog. I started this a few years back and I kind of put it aside because there was just so much going on that I didn't feel I could do it justice. And well, thanks to Mercury Retrograde and our recent blue moon and all the other retrogrades that are going on right now, I decided it was time to take the gifts that all retrogrades bring and blue moons. And that is a chance to go back and reclaim opportunities, renewed opportunities, and second chances. So I have decided to revisit this, which, as you guys all know, anybody who's met me knows that astrology is a passion of mine. I absolutely love it. And it's not just personal astrology. I really do. If you look at the patterns of astrology, you will see that when you look out over the world, you can actually track patterns of events by astrological means. Originally, our Western astrology is Babylonian astrology, and that's what they used it for. They used it to track the seasons, they used it to track the skies, to plan by, but also to track major events. And they did quite a bit of research on it and were very, very successful with it. So while I do love personal astrology and it's absolutely wonderful, it is only one very small, tiny piece of the astrological puzzle, ability, labyrinth. I kind of like labyrinth. I know that anybody who I've spoken with knows that I studied multiple systems of astrology. Mayan, I tried Vedic. Ooh, that stuff gives me a headache. But, Celtic, Native American. But my two favorites are Eastern and Western astrology. So now Eastern, a lot of people, they think Chinese, but that's not quite true. Vietnamese, Japanese, many of the Asian countries use the same method of astrology. They just sometimes change up the animals. So in Eastern astrology, it would be, instead of one region would have a cat instead of a rabbit, or a buffalo versus a bison versus an ox, different things like that. But they're just minor changes. The dates and the energies of each sign and each season stay the same. It's absolutely wonderful, and I definitely advise anybody to pick up some good books on Chinese astrology, Eastern astrology, and some good books on Western astrology. Now, I will say, and I will mention, and I'm going to try not to make this first video too long because, well, I'm just back, but I will mention getting good, worthwhile books on astrology, and especially Eastern astrology. They're a little hard to come by. I always have people ask if I do lectures or classes or anything. They ask me for book recommendations. And I always say, you know what? I can recommend you a stack of books if you're willing to read it and, just call out all the good parts. But actually just recommending one book, impossible. One of the people, though, I love for Western astrology is Linda Goodman. And then I believe one of the ladies I actually enjoy who writes about Eastern astrology, she calls it very, very simply Chinese astrology. I believe her name is Suzanne White, but I'd have to go back and look, so don't quote me quite yet. I will be having some articles come out on different astrological things, and I actually do have a book on the retrogrades, planetary retrograde tips in the works, but with everything else, it's going to be a little bit before it comes out. But I wanted to talk about some of everybody thinks retrogrades are bad. And I wanted to point out some of the good points and how to work with them and gain the opportunities that they give us, because everything has opportunities and challenges. But if we focus on the challenges, that's all we'll ever see. Whereas if we focus on the opportunities, we're going to have a lot better time in life. Anywho, so for the first video back, I decided, simply because that's kind of the energy of a blue moon, I decided to talk about blue moons. And I am loving the digital backdrops. It's so much fun, and it's really a great visual aid. With the blue moons, now, I love the saying of once in a blue moon or wishing on a blue moon. I love it. It is so much fun. It's such a beautiful phrase. It is so evocative and neat. And it spawned literature, it spawned film, it spawned song and paintings and artwork and all this wonderful stuff and poetry. But what is a blue moon? So, surprisingly enough, sadly, I'm very disappointed, very disappointed. Only once in a while is the moon actually blue. And that's only after like a volcanic eruption or something where you're seeing the moon through a haze of dust and debris and all that stuff. So, yeah, if I ever get a chance, I'm going to go look at it after a volcanic eruption. I don't want one anywhere near me, and no more bad times for this year or like the next 100 years. We've had enough over like since 2020. It's just been blah. So we need no more bad things and no more obstacles. But it sure would be nice to see the moon actually blue. But that is one of the definitions. There are actually 4 definitions of a blue moon. One of them is when the moon is actually blue through dust, particles, haze, yuck, pollution. Now I did make notes because I knew Mercury Retrograde, last shadow zone gremlins were going to get me. So I made lots of notes, and this is going to be an article once my hubby gets done editing it, and I'm going to be putting it up on DesMoinesNewAge.com on my blog. Okay, 4 types of blue moons. One is when it actually turns blue. Sadly, that's like very, 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 very super rare. The second one is an annual blue moon, and that is classified as the 13th full moon in a calendar year. Now, FYI, blue moons are always full moons, and part of their energy, part of their vibration is to intensify the full moon energy, but they give it that special little twang. Unlike the retrogrades, the retrogrades bring things back into your life, but with a blue moon, it renews opportunities, it gives second chances, and it has a lot more of a positive feel to it. At least that's the energy I've always picked up from it. So, and I will be talking about some of the crystals you can use to work with it. So, okay. 13th full moon in a calendar year. That's the annual blue moon. Seasonal blue moon. Now, that is classified as the 4th full moon in a season. Okay, so winter, summer, spring, fall. Monthly full moon, a second full moon within a calendar month. Now, I hear some people say, they're like, oh my God, when a blue moon comes up, it cuts the cycle short and it means things are being taken out of your life and all that fun stuff. That's not true. I've never found that to be true. If anything, it gives you more opportunities to work with. So, now, I am also going to say this. I often get asked, how often does a blue moon happen? They're actually a little bit more common than you might think. They happen about 41 times per century, and that's about every 2.5 to 3 years, which is actually pretty fun. So next time somebody says, whatever, when the next blue moon is, you can be like, okay, 2.5 to 3 years. I always get people on that. It's so much fun to do. Try it. Seriously, it's fun. Okay, so now, more the energetic perspective of working with a blue moon. One of the neat things about it is when you have a blue moon, outside of the cosmic renewal, opportunity renewal, cosmic second chances, it also deepens your connection to the spiritual realms. It makes that bridge really clear, really clean, and it bridges it fast. So and you don't just have to contact the dead. These are angels, guides, higher self, different stuff like that. So it's a wonderful time to actually speak with your ancestors or your spirit guides, get in touch with them, especially if you're doing it for the first time, things like that. And it's going to give you a lot of clarity, and it's going to intensify that connection. Okay, so in some cultures, people actually use this time to speak with their ancestors and ask them for favors and such, to grant wishes, so to speak, because the ancestors and the spirits, they are actually more apt to grant a wish on a special occasion like this. At least that's what some cultures believe, so give it a shot. I haven't yet, so, you know me, I'm like spirit grand central over here, so they'll be like, what? Why are you calling me during blue moon? I'll be like, I don't know, because I read it somewhere. No, like, okay, fine, whatever. So, yeah. But anyways, now, also, many people say a blue moon is a highly transformational thing. It is a time of growth. There's a dramatic uptick in opportunities. Emotions are intensified. And it's kind of a time of almost like a Saturn returns, where things are just pulled away from you that you've been clinging to. Things are just pulled out of your life that no longer serve you and are no good for you, much like an eclipse or a set of eclipses. I've seen that to some degree, but honestly, with everything else going on this year, it's hard. It's hard to put a specific point to it. But looking back, yes, blue moons, they do seem to be one of those cleaning out kind of things, kind of like emptying your junk drawer of life. But they don't do it in a harsh way. It's not like eclipses. It's not like Chiron retrogrades. It's even not like Pluto retrograde. Blue moons are just they have a soft, almost watery, positive energy to them. And when you go through one, yes, it can be a little intense, intensifying emotions, doubling up on that full moon energy, but it's actually very refreshing at the end. It's kind of like a splash of cold water across the face, I would say. But I digress. Okay, so some crystals to work with the blue moon energy. Selenite, of course. I always recommend white selenite for everything. But it's for that energy cleanse. That way you don't have anybody else's stuff sticking to you or anything from the spirit realms if you do attempt to talk to your guides during it. Citrine and aventurine to grab onto all those awesome opportunities that are going to be coming your way, and the second chances. Well, okay, the good second chances, having a little bit more discernment on those as well. And citrine will help with that. Black kyanite to keep everything lined up and to keep your auric field healthy and whole without any holes in it. No pun intended. But with that, it's also going to keep you from getting pulled one way or another, keep that energy from just yanking you out of alignment. So celestite and larimar, and these are specifically if you want to connect and contact the other side during this time, because these things are wonderful for it. And I will also recommend in there hackmanite. I just did a video on it. Definitely go watch that. It's under the Gym Talks video. But so hackmanite, larimar, celestite, all three of those are absolutely awesome for communication with the other side, communication with spirits, guides, angels. A lot of people say higher self, but she and I don't talk too much. After what she's put me through, when I get out there, we are going to have such a reckoning. Anyways, amethyst and rainbow moonstone. And this is to tune into the psychic energies around you. This is going to allow you to plug into source material. And this I would recommend more for talking to your higher self. So there's that. Black moonstone to help adjust with those transformative changes and also to keep you psychically healthy. All right, my friends, loves to you all. And this is over 13 minutes, longer than I wanted to go. But anyway, love you all, and I will talk with you soon. So like, comment, follow. If there are any astrological phenomenon or celestial phenomenon or astrological systems you would have questions on, put it in the comments. Like, subscribe, check me out. This episode will be on Des Moines New Age Radio on Spotify, and I will be putting a link in the description. So, all right. Love y'all. Thanks for joining in. And now I'm going to go to the outro. Oh, also in the comments, let me know if you guys like the outro and the intro. All right. Bye. Mwah. Once in a blue moon.